What's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Patrick Siepman, and thank you guys for joining us as a part of our live show where we go live every Wednesday to break down the latest around your favorite football team. And we got a lot to talk about on today's show. We are going to be doing our preview for the Week 16 matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. Talk about some big-time injury news around Brian O'Neill, Stephon Giilmore, and actually Jalen Redmond, who popped up on the injury report earlier on today. And then also, we have a ludicrous trade idea that I cannot wait to talk to you guys about with. But hey, before we dive into that all, if you guys love the Minnesota Vikings, give me a SKOL down below. We already got Young Boy in the building. How you doing, Young Boy? Yeah, I was definitely pulling for Caruso and the Thunder last night in the NBA Cup final, but sadly Caruso couldn't get it done. Lego Fellow saying SKOL. What Not Me saying SKOL. Shout out to you. Mark Co80 saying SKOL. Pat from Nova Scotty. Shout out to you. Finn saying SKOL. Joey Tano. Sandy. Caleb Hammer. Richard D. Greg Phillips. King Jax. Shout out to King Jax, man. Ty Man, the Buckeye in the building. Paul Morstum. Dean Darnell. Joe Hanna. RGB. Caleb Hammer. Mark C. giving the classic fade seep. Shout out to you, Mark. Thanks so much for tuning in. And then Towouty Chad, Jeff Spears, and Baseball Boys. And I cannot wait to talk about what we're going to talk about on today's show. And Old Red, obviously, coming in saying no bathroom breaks, only P-Jugs or Vikings lose. During the playoffs, we have a P-Jug on the channel just for to ensure the Vikings will get the win there. But shout out to Old Red for tuning in. But let me ask you guys this here real quick. Will the Vikings land the number one seed in the NFC? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. How are you guys feeling about it right now? I've came out and said yesterday, I think the Vikings will be playing in the Super Bowl this year. And also, I'm going to say this on a video. I get a lot of comments. I'm a younger Vikings fan, only 25 years old, and I'll get a lot of comments saying like, hey, Patrick, I'm an older Vikings fan. I'm around 40, 50, 60 years old. You don't understand. This Vikings team has consistently let us down. How could you believe they're going to the Super Bowl? And listen, I understand. I'm a younger Vikings fan. I don't have the PTSD built up from these older Vikings fans, but I'll say all that to say this. I am ready to get my heart broken, and I hope you guys are too. And what I mean by that is I'm not expecting the Vikings to lose. I am expecting the Vikings to be in the Super Bowl. I think they're the best team in the NFC, and I will say that confidently. I truly, truly do believe that. And even if the Vikings don't land the number one seed, I still think the Vikings will be playing in the Super Bowl. I think you can beat anybody, anywhere, anytime. Doesn't matter if that's at home, if that's in Philadelphia, taking on the Eagles. I really do believe that. And I just want everybody to get on the same page of this is a Super Bowl team you are rooting for. This is one of the best teams in the NFL, if not the best team. I don't think it's crazy if you guys come out and say, I think the Vikes are the best team. I don't think that's ludicrous at all. And we'll talk about that all on today's show. We'll dive into a lot of stats that indicate that, maybe this Vikings team is even better than most of us Vikings fans think. And, listen, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I have been spot on about this football team all year. I feel like I'm seeing them very well, and I honestly think I have underestimated what they're going to do. I think this is a Super Bowl team on our hands. I think they'll be playing down there in New Orleans, and I cannot wait. But we'll talk about that more here in a second. But I do want to give you guys, or tell you guys about one of our sponsors on today's live show, and that is Game Time. Now, Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better. And plus, it makes a perfect gift. If you guys got a loved one who's a diehard Vikings fan and they want to go to the Vikings-Packers final home game in US Bank Stadium, get them hooked up with Game Time. And if you guys create an account, use code CHATSPORTS. You guys will get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. But I also do want to tell you guys about another sponsor we have. Shout out to Prize Picks. If you guys are trying to put some money back in your pocket this holiday season, Prize Picks is a great way to do so. And put your football knowledge to the test with Prize Picks. It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. And if you guys download the app, plug in promo code CLNS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you create your first $5 lineup. A massive shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's live edition of Vikings Now by Chat Sports. Shout out to them. Prize Picks. Run your game. Alrighty, we will be getting into a mailbag in about 30 or 40 minutes or so. So if you guys want to get your questions in early, great way to do so is hashtag Vikings in the live chat. Ask about anything around this football team, or you guys can just super chat to get up on the live show, your name, your profile picture, your question will be up on screen next to me. So can't wait to break that down for you guys. But listen, we got a lot of stuff to talk about on today's program. We're going to talk about the Seahawks game, as why I, again, think the Vikings are being disrespected. Vegas has this as a 3-point spread in favor of the Vikings, and I honestly think it should be around 6.5. I think the Vikings are going to go into Seattle, have this Super Bowl swagger mentality where it is officially playoff mode. Every game from here on out, I am treating it like a playoff game, and you guys should too. Because if the Vikings, you think about this. If they win 5 games, they are in the Super Bowl. You win 5 games in a row, you are in the Super Bowl. Just call it like that. We're on a 7-game win streak already. We went on a 5-game win streak early on this season. If you just win 5 football games over the next 6 weeks, assuming you get that bye for one of the weeks, you will be in the Super Bowl. You will be down there in New Orleans. So, listen, I want everybody to get bought into this football team is what the kind of message I'm trying to get out to you guys. Because, listen, at first, I was kind of scared where I'm like, man, because I always talk about this. The confetti test. Where can you imagine Kevin O'Connell, Sam Darnold, hoisting that Lombardi trophy? I originally said even when the Vikings were 5-0, I just can't see it. I can't get through my Sam Darnold blinders. But I think we have the best football coach in the National Football League. I think Kevin O'Connell is a better coach right now than Sean McVay. I think he's better than Andy Reid. I think he's better than Kyle Shanahan. Call me a homer. Sam's just talking out of my rear end here, but I truly, truly do believe that. I think this is a Super Bowl team here in Minnesota. So if you guys want to disagree with me, if you guys want to, call me an idiot, say, hey, you're drinking too much purple Kool-Aid, tamper your expectations, I don't care. That's the best part about this channel is that you guys get your thoughts up on screen. So #Vikings or Super Chat to get up on today's show. You guys can ask whatever, give any hot take you have. SKOL GB saying, do you think they're Super Bowl contenders? 100%, my man. What not me? And we'll go more in depth on all these questions here on the mailbag. But saying, do you think we could win against the Lions? Yeah, I think the Vikings defense, when you have Cashman, when you have Pace, and with Jalen Redmond, taking that next step, I truly do believe that they can go toe-to-toe with the Lions. And I think right now, with all the injuries, with 21 players on IR for Detroit, I think the Lions are not as good of a football team right now as the Minnesota Vikings. I trust this coaching staff more. I trust the quarterback, honestly, more than Jared Goff. And again, you guys may think that's crazy, but it's just truly, truly what I think on this. So, we'll see how it all plays out, but Week 18 is going to be a movie. Unfortunately, the NFL did not flex Week 17 against the Green Bay Packers. I thought they might have had a chance, but I think Fox is going to protect that game. So that game will either be at 1 or 3:25 in that primetime slot. But, hey, we'll discuss it all. And, coming up, we got 3 awesome shows for you guys. So make sure you stay tuned, watch the whole thing. First off, we're going to talk about our Seahawks preview. Second up is a Super Bowl coming for your Minnesota Vikings. I think yes, and I'll explain why coming up here in a second. Then also a wild trade idea around J.J. McCarthy that may land the Vikings, the dude who just won the Heisman. J.J. McCarthy for Travis Hunter. It sounds crazy, but we're just going to talk about that wild idea here in a second. And if you guys are ready to go, hit that thumbs up icon. We're at 25 likes right now. Once we get to 30 likes, we will start today's Seahawks preview. We got 130 people in the building. If you guys could, hit that thumbs up button. It's Ojib Way saying, we're at the game on Monday. Do you think the crowd was super loud? I was there, and I haven't heard it loud ever. So I wasn't there, but just hearing it on TV, man, shout out to all the fans that were in U.S. Bank Stadium. You guys had that place jumping, and I think that's a big reason why I think the Vikings are going to go to the Super Bowl, because I think they're going to win out. I think they're going to land that number 1 seed. I don't think the Packers can play with them in U.S. Bank Stadium. I mean, that place is going to be jumping. And I think you can go to Detroit, get a massive win in Week 18, and truly lock up that number 1 seed. So 43.5, dope. Awesome. We got the bookmakers making some changes on us last second, Texie. No, but we'll dive into the Seahawks preview here. Hey, we're at 34 likes, 150 people in the building. Again, please hit that thumbs up icon, and we can break it down, man. Vikings, Seahawks, must-win game. Every game from here on out is a playoff game for our Minnesota Vikings, and hopefully you guys have that same mentality. But let's break it down. If you guys are ready to go, Seahawks preview. Let's get after it. The The Minnesota Vikings are traveling across the country to take on the Seattle Seahawks in a massive NFC Week 16 matchup between the Vikes and the Seahawks. And right now, the bookmakers have the Vikings as a 3-point favorite. I think that is extremely disrespectful. I think that should be around 5 or 6. Over/under set at 43.5. And this is an 8-6 Seahawks team squaring off with a 12-2 Minnesota Vikings football team. So we got a lot to break down on today's show. But before we dive into it, if you guys want the Minnesota Vikings to beat the Seattle Seahawks and move to 13-2, give me those SKOLs down below in the comment section. Even though we're on the road this weekend, I want the comments looking like US Bank Stadium on game day. Give me those SKOLs, because from here on out, every single game for the Minnesota Vikings, we are treating it like a playoff game here on the channel. So if you guys want the Vikes to beat the Seahawks, give me those SKOLs down below. Now, topics we're going to be discussing on today's preview versus Seahawks. Number one, we're going to be discussing the latest injury news around the Minnesota Vikings. Also going over a deep dive into the Seattle Seahawks. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And then also keys to victory. 5 ways the Vikings can celebrate an 8th straight win. And then finally, I have my score prediction for you guys. But just start off with the injury news here. So Jalen Redmond, one of the last plays of the Bears game, Jalen Redmond did suffer a concussion versus Chicago Bears in Week 18. So he's in concussion protocol right now, and it's extremely disappointing because Jalen Redmond, he's been awesome over the last couple of weeks. Specific to the 2 games before the Bears game, I thought he was fantastic. Really has stepped up and just balled out for this run defense. Even though the run defense has taken a step back without Ivan Pace in the lineup, still Jalen Redmond has been a huge bright spot. And then also Brian O'Neill. This is great news for the Minnesota Vikings, because when I was watching that Bears game this weekend, I was terrified when Brian O'Neill went out because, listen, I think this Vikings team is extremely special. I think they're the best team in the NFC, possibly the best team in the NFL. But if you would have lost Brian O'Neill, you would have been fighting an uphill battle, because you would have had David Quessenberry, you would have had Cam Robinson as your starting tackles, and a shaky interior offensive line. You could make an argument without O'Neill, the Vikings got one of the worst offensive lines for playoff teams this season. So great to know that Brian O'Neill, he's just dealing with some soreness in his knee, and he will be ready to go this weekend versus Seattle Seahawks. And a player that should be good to go, which is going to be great for our Minnesota Vikings, is Stephon Giilmore, the 6-foot, 34-year-old cornerback, dealing with that hamstring injury. And I'm just assuming he's going to be good to go, as last week he was listed as a limited participant on the last practice before the Bears game, so I'm assuming he's going to be good to go. But even if he isn't able to go, I am okay with the Vikings just giving him that extra week, making sure that hamstring is all ready to fully be used during this playoff run. But there's something to watch here in terms of the Seahawks side of things. So Geno Smith, he left the game versus the Packers with a knee injury, but all reports we are getting right now is that he should be ready to play this weekend against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the only thing I'll say about that is if it is not Geno Smith, it is going to be Sam Howell. And if it is Sam Howell in the lineup, the Vikings defense might shut out the Seahawks. Sam Howell is one of the worst starting quarterbacks, or not starting quarterbacks, one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And I think if he is in there for Seattle under center, it should be a massive victory for the Minnesota Vikings. But let's deep dive on the Seattle Seahawks. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What has been going on for Seattle over the last couple of weeks? Well, they are in a battle right now for the NFC West. And as it stands, as we're filming, the Rams are 8-6. The Seahawks are 8-6. So this game for Seattle is a massive one, because if they drop this and the Rams have a winnable game this weekend, they're going to be a game behind. They don't have the tiebreaker as well. So Seattle, you're going to get their best punch this weekend. They're going to be trying to win this game. And plus, with the Cardinals and even the Niners still on their heels over there, every game for them, they're probably treating it like a playoff game as well. But let's dive into their offense. What makes them kind of tick here? So good news for the Vikings is that they actually are terrible at running the football, only averaging 94 rush yards per game. That's 28th in the NFL, and they do have some good running backs that we'll talk about here in a second. But points per game, 22.5, that's 14th. Total yards per game, 13th, and pass yards per game. They actually have a good passing offense. Shout out to Geno Smith for that one. But, hey, there are 3 weapons on the outsides. Jackson Smith-Njigba, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, one of the best trios of wide receivers we will see in the NFL this season. And if you think about, what makes the kind of Seahawks offense tick, it is getting the ball out and getting these playmakers chances. And, they have a guy in, Geno Smith, similar to Sam Darnold. He was kind of pushed out of the way with the New York Jets, and he revitalized his career in Seattle. And PFF has him ranked as the 9th best quarterback out of 63 total guys this season. Average time to throw is at 2.82. That's 25th in the NFL. Big time throws, he makes them all the time. He's got 25 of them and only 13 turnover-worthy throws this season. And they actually will use him in some design runs. He's got 47 so far this season. So keep your eyes out on that this weekend. But in terms of the rushing attack, what makes them tick? Kenneth Walker III, phenomenal running back. Zach Charbonnet, phenomenal running back. These two are one of the best duos out there in the NFL. And in terms of total rush yards, just over 500 for Kenneth Walker, just over 450 for Zach Charbonnet. So they're getting about 1,000 yards of production from their two running backs. Now, yes, the yards per carry aren't as high, but these guys can still kill you, and they also have dual threat ability. They can both catch the football, both have a receiving touchdown so far this season. But the thing is about this matchup, the Vikings defense, it travels, man. It doesn't matter, and yes, I understand the advantage of US Bank Stadium is huge for this group. But this defense can go on the road and have a big-time performance. I mean, we saw it against, like, the Titans, the Jags, even, like, the Bears, and those aren't really too good at football teams. But we even saw it, traveling to Lambeau. You only held the Packers to, 7 points at halftime? That was a great performance. So this defense can go on the road, get a big-time win, and I expect another great performance from Flores and company this weekend. I'm going to go bold here. I'm going to say they don't give up a touchdown this weekend to Seattle. Let's talk about their defense here because, they got a new head coach, Mike McDonald. He's a hell of a head coach. Great defensive mind. Came from the Baltimore Ravens, but his defense has not been playing up to par, I would say, as they're compared to their preseason expectations. But this is how they rank out in the league. They're the 15th ranked scoring defense. They're okay on third downs. They're not too good against the run, giving up 130 yards a game. So watch out for Aaron Jones and Cam Akers have a good one. But just what I'm seeing from his Seahawks team here, they are a well-coached team. I'll give them credit. Like, they don't really make too many mental mistakes. They're going to be, they're not going to beat themselves, but also they don't really have that kind of knockout punch. So, Mike McDonald going against Kevin O'Connell, here's my take on it. I think the Vikings offense is going to drop 30 points for a third straight game this season. You dropped 42 against Atlanta. You dropped 30 against the Bears, where you really aren't playing too well. And, statistically, the Bears have a better defense than Seattle Seahawks. So I think they're going to travel. I think Sam Darnold, outside, that big body, that big arm, he's going to be throwing that football, cutting through the winds, and he's going to find 18, number 3 and 87, a whole lot. So that's my take. I think the Vikings will score 30-plus again this weekend, and I also think the defense will not give up a touchdown against the Seahawks. But you guys let me know. Predict the score for me. Vikings versus Seahawks. I'll give you guys my score prediction here at the tail half of today's show. But you guys chime in on this one. Predict the score. Vikings versus Seahawks. What do you guys think the score is going to be? Now, we'll talk about my keys to victory here in a second, but first off, I want to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Game Time. If you guys download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS, you guys will get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Now, Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better, and plus, it makes for a perfect gift. So if you guys are trying to get a loved one tickets to the Vikings-Packers game, it's a great way to do so. Tickets are very expensive, as you see on screen right now, and if you guys want to just get $20 off, this is a great way to do so. So Game Time also has a new feature called Game Time Picks. That makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff, showing you incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app today, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. Key to victory number 1 for the Minnesota Vikings this weekend. I'm going to go the three-headed monster. And you guys may be saying, well, Patrick, who is the three-headed monster? If you guys don't know, it's the 3 best pass catchers on this football team: Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson. Now, I think as we get later in the year, you're going to have to rely on what you are great at. And if I could pinpoint one thing on this Vikings team that they are great at, it is on the outside. It is their weapons. They remind me a whole lot of those old San Francisco 49ers teams, Brock Purdy, who have made 2 Super Bowls over the last 4 seasons, where you have some elite weapons. You got 2 receivers. You got a really good tight end, and you also have 2 good running backs in Aaron Jones and Cam Akers. So get these 3 the football, get them involved early, and hey, Jefferson, let's go have another 15-yard season. How about you or what do we have to say about that? But number 2 for me, I'm going to go clean football here. So, you are clearly the better team in this matchup. And how do you lose this game is that you beat yourself. So I'm looking at guys like Sam Darnold. I'm looking at guys like Cam Robinson on the offensive line who had 3 false starts last week against the Chicago Bears. But if you take care of the football, you don't shoot yourself in the foot with penalties, and you stay ahead of the sticks, and you stay on time and, pretty much in rhythm throughout this game, there is really no reason, because of the talent on the outsides, that the Vikings cannot be the better team throughout all 4 quarters of this game. But that kind of leads perfectly into number 3. You got to get the good Sam Darnold. And, I honestly hate saying this. I'm kind of mad at myself for putting this as the 3rd key to victory, because it is just good Sam Darnold. That's just who he is at this point. I mean, his season stats are ridiculous. In 14 games, the man's already thrown for 3,500 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 11 picks. I mean, if he keeps that pace, let's just say he throws for 2 touchdowns and averages about 200 yards over the next 3 games, he's going to go over 4,000. He's going to have 35 touchdowns, probably end up with about 12, 13 interceptions. That is fantastic stuff from Sam Darnold, and he's been accurate throughout the year. Obviously, last week, he missed a couple of easy ones to Jefferson and Addison throughout that game, but I think he'll turn it around. And plus, playing outside, I trust having the 6'3", 225-pound quarterback with a rocket of an arm compared to, guy like Kirk Cousins, for example. But number 4 for me, I'm going to go get home with 4. And, mainly what I mean by this is, hey, Jonathan Grenard, go dominate a football game yet again. And shout out to Tex for cooking this up, saying I was wrong. He's a blue chipper at the top of this. I was 100% wrong. Jonathan Grenard is a blue chipper. He's one of the best edge rushers in the league. He's one of the most slept-on defensive players in the league. Go game wreck a game. Go dominate number 58. 58, I'm calling you out because you are that special. You are that talented. You go wreak havoc on Geno Smith in that pocket this weekend. Maybe you get another forced fumble, get your 5th on the season. Also, Grenard, as a guy who can't pronounce words too well, me having to say 4 forced fumbles over and over again, I don't know if I'm going to do that for much longer or be able to do that for much longer. So I would appreciate if you make that easier for me and I could just say 5 forced fumbles instead of me tripping over my words saying 4 forced fumbles and kind of stuttering a little bit. So Grenard, obviously joking, but go have another good game and we should be celebrating an 8th straight victory. And, I've already kind of teased this. It's playoff mode. Every single game from here on out is a playoff game for the Minnesota Vikings. It doesn't matter if it's against the Seahawks, Packers, or Lions. Because if you just handle business and you just win 3 games here, you'll be the number 1 seed in the NFC. And Philly will have to come to you. Detroit or Green Bay will have to come to you. They will have to play in the bank. They will have to go against that Flores defense. They will have to go against that crowd noise. Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson, all those weapons. Win 3 football games. Treat this like a playoff game. And I'm so serious. The Vikings will be playing in the Super Bowl this February. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, give me a SKOL down below in the comments section. This will be our real one roll call for today's program. So just give me those SKOLs down below. And as always, you guys can give me a follow on Twitter at Pat Sieps is the Twitter handle. Give me a follow over there, and I'll give you guys a follow right back. Thank you guys so much for watching today's show. SKOL Vikes. Alrighty, predict the score for me. Vikings, Seahawks. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Big 3-game stretch left. Yes, sir, Tyson. Roger Bong, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Too Evil, Too Hope in the building as well. Eric in the building. Mike Florio said on Chicago radio today, Vikings are a fluke. Yep, everybody is, man. Everybody is. That's why I think they're going to the Super Bowl. And I'm not doing too good of a job of just kind of explaining to you guys why you should be fully bought in to this football team. I mean, the next segment, I hope to do a good job. But I think it is the biggest loser mentality ever to be like, oh, the Vikings broke my heart in the past. Oh, the Vikings, remember 98, how good they are. Remember 2009. Remember 2015. It's 2024. This is not your dad's Minnesota Vikings. This is our Minnesota Vikings. This is a Kevin O'Connell-led Minnesota Vikings, not a Mike Zimmer-led Minnesota Vikings. Believe in this football team. Treat them like everybody. Treat the Vikings, if you are a fan of them, like how Lions fans treat their football team, how Bills fans treat their football team, where it is Super Bowl or bust. I want everybody to have that expectation because for me, I'll be disappointed if they're not in the Super Bowl, because also I would be then wrong about this football team. But I think they're that special. I appreciate everybody who's fully bought in, because you guys for sure should be. But if you guys got a question for me, hashtag Vikings or super chat to get up on today's show. We got over 200 people in the building. If you guys could send in a question, hashtag Vikings, super chat, whatever it may be, I would really, really appreciate it. Roger Bond, give me a let's go. I love it. I love how all sports channels dismiss us besides Jeff Saturday. Yeah, every single one. Every single one. Zebra, I call BS on that crap attitude. I hate it. It is just loser mentality. It is a loser mentality. Treat this team like the Super Bowl team they are. That is very fresh. That is very, very fresh. I love that. That's the best double big cam at the company, Texie. That thing is awesome. Tyson, shout out to you. Rich Eisen has been supportive of the Vikings. Listen, even like the guys who are supportive of this football team, if you ask them, who do you think is going to be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl, I guarantee you not a single person is saying the Minnesota Vikings. And honestly, that's how I'd like it. Shout out to Bro saying, how do you feel about me rooting for Germany? I freaking love it, man. If the Vikings win the Super Bowl, I might have to make a trip out to Germany and celebrate with you guys, man. Also, if the Vikings do make a Super Bowl, I'm going to try to go down there for Media Row. Hopefully get some awesome interviews for you guys with a couple of the guys on the team. Oh, Finn's from Germany too. Can you explain why the experts in the U.S. think we are trash? That's a great question. I think it's just brand bias, where they see the logo on the helmet, they see Sam Darnold, they just can't fully kind of get past those blinders. And I've been saying, I hate that I'm still saying this, that like, oh, everybody's got the Vikings blinders, the Sam Darnold blinders. It is still a real thing. Still nobody, even you go ask your friends who are just NFL fans. You're like, hey, who do you think's going to come out the NFC? Everybody's scared. Everybody's scared to say the Vikings are going to the Super Bowl. That's how I'd like it, though. But so we dive into it. Are you guys ready to get excited? You guys ready to fully understand? Good amount of questions? Hell yeah. Appreciate you guys. Awesome. Prize picks on this, John. I need everybody take a sip of purple Kool-Aid before we dive into today's show, man. Sip purple Kool-Aid. That grape Kool-Aid. Yeah. LaShawn Jordan, what up? SKOL to the bowl coming in from Eric Mott. Shout out to you guys, man. Alrighty. Let's dive into it, fellas. Let's dive into it. The NFL has no answers let me start that over. You guys are seeing the behind the scenes right now. The NFL has no answer to what the Minnesota Vikings are doing. What's up, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, I'm going to be explaining to you guys why the Minnesota Vikings are true Super Bowl contenders. And it gets me right into this. My bold take. I think the Minnesota Vikings will be the number one seed in the NFC. They're going to run the table, beat the Seahawks, Packers, and Lions, and they will have 2 home playoff games, and they will win both of those, and I will see you guys in New Orleans. But hey, before we dive into it, and before I go over 5 reasons why the Minnesota Vikings are truly Super Bowl contenders and why the NFL has no answer for what's going on in Minnesota, we are in a sub battle right now versus our Lions Talk channel. They got over 80,000 subs. And I appreciate every one of you guys who have hit that sub button so far this season. If you guys haven't already, I don't know what you're doing. Help us out. Help us beat Lions Talk and subscribers. Hit that sub button, everybody. I would really appreciate it. All right, let's dive into it. Are the Vikings a Super Bowl team? Let's break it down. So, number one, if the Vikes are going to be a Super Bowl team, it starts off with Sam Darnold and the playoff run that he is about to go on. And I still feel like the Minnesota Vikings, and specifically Darnold, people aren't treating him like he should be treated. Now, I do want to highlight one play against the Chicago Bears. So, this play sets up. Darnold's just in the pocket. He had Jefferson split out wide. And look at this wide open kind of just big blank space of grass in the middle of the football field. Well, the Vikings have one receiver, being Justin Jefferson, running from left to right. And Sam Darnold, there's only one place on the whole field you can put this football, and it is right before the left hash. And we get to the next one. Sam Darnold put this ball on a frickin' line. This was one of his best throws of the season. He has been great at attacking over the middle of the field. He's got a big-time arm. He's a big dude. He's gotten better in the pocket. Yes, he still holds on to the football a little too long, but this was an absolute seed, and it ended up being Jefferson down at the 1-yard line. Aaron Jones ended up running it in. I just think people don't realize that, I really do believe Sam Darnold is about to go on a Joe Flacco-esque run, a Nick Foles-esque run, where before the year we just viewed those guys as just, any other quarterback. We didn't view them as special. But look at what Sam Darnold has done this season. Big-time throws, according to PFF, which also that throw I just showed you, PFF did not count that as a big-time throw, which I thought was ludicrous. So I think he should have 30 at this point, but he's second in the NFL. Average depth of target, pushing the ball down the field. He's 8th. Adjusting completion percentage still stands around 80%, and they're actually starting to use Darnold a little more in these tush pushes, a little more designed runs, which I'll tell you what, bold prediction here that I'm coming off the top. I think Kevin O'Connell is going to use a whole lot more just QB power, QB design runs for this playoff run. You got a big athletic quarterback, might as well put it on display. But number 2 for me, you got to have a defense. You got to have that backbone. You got to have something you can rely on. And this defense, it is the perfect Super Bowl defense because I think, for a multitude of reasons. Now, I'm going to show you guys this graphic. Now, the Vikings rank top 4 in all 5 of these categories. But I think to be a Super Bowl defense, you got to stop the run. Now, yes, they have taken a step back over the last couple of weeks, but once pace comes back, I don't think that'll be a problem. 2nd in the league. You obviously got to be a good scoring defense. 4th in the league. You got to be good on 3rd downs. Well, Vikings are 4th as well. Sacks, they're 4th. And you got to take the football away. They're 3rd in the NFL. And if the Vikings could somehow get home field advantage, this defense will be the reason you go on a Super Bowl run. And that's also why I think this is coming. Because if the Vikings go on the road and they have to travel, I truly do believe if they make the Super Bowl, it will be because of the right arm of Sam Darnold. But if they get 2 home playoff games, and shout out to all the Vikings fans that are able to go to these games and make that one of the toughest environments to play in the entire NFL, good luck to Jalen Hurts. Good luck to Jared Goff. If you think you're going to come into U.S. Bank Stadium, do what you've been doing all year, you got another thing coming for you. So the Vikings defense, if you get home field advantage, I could see them putting on a show for 2 home playoff games. And also gets me to this. I hate this notion like there's a powerhouse in the NFC. Like everybody's talking about the Eagles. Everybody's talking about the Packers. But in my opinion, the NFC is wide open. And yeah, you got sneaky teams. Like honestly, I think the NFC as a whole is a very, very strong conference this season. Like I like the Buccaneers. I like the Los Angeles Rams. If the Vikings do end up getting the 5 or 6 seed, those would be tough matchups in the wild card round. But you still got the Packers, you still got the Eagles, and you still got the Detroit Lions. Let's start off with the Packers here real quick. It almost seems like people forget that the Vikings went into Lambeau and got up 28-0 on the Packers. And that game would have been a complete blowout if Jalen Nailor doesn't muff a punt. And I think people just still look at that game and they look at the final score and they're saying, oh man, the Vikings got up 28-0. Why was the score 31-29? Was it a little bit of a fugazi? Was it a little fake? I don't think it was. The Vikings are a better football team than the team that's over there in Green Bay. I think you have a better quarterback. I think you have a better head coach. I for sure think you have a better defense. And you guys might call me crazy for saying Sam Darnold's better than Jordan Love and Kevin O'Connell's better than Matt LaFleur. That's my opinion, and I can't wait for those two to prove me right in the playoffs, but also the Eagles here. So Philadelphia is a great team. I think they're the biggest test to the Vikings in the NFC, no doubt about it. However, what's their MO? It's the run game. And if they have to come to U.S. Bank Stadium and the Vikings, if they could somehow blitz them, get up 10-0, I would love to see Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts try to throw the ball on this defense. This will be a tough game. This is the team I fear the most, and even if we have to go to Philly in the divisional, I'm going to be riding with the Minnesota Vikings. I am a big believer that the Vikings, out of any team in the NFC, they match up the best with the Eagles. I think just their defense, they play both sides, and the Eagles have a good defense too. I would just trust, Kevin O'Connell cooking that Vic Fangio defense more than I would trust Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts cooking that Brian Flores defense. And also the Lions. The Lions are just a better version of the Buccaneers at this point, in my opinion. And this is nothing listen, the Lions were fully healthy. they would be for sure probably my Super Bowl pick. Like, if I'm being honest, even as a Vikings fan, like if they had Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, Carlton Davis, all those guys, I'm probably choosing the Lions to make the Super Bowl. But I think as it stands right now, they can't guard the Vikings on the outside. They can't guard Jefferson. They can't guard Addison. I think if they have to go to Detroit, I think, or even if the Lions come to US Bank Stadium, I still think in that situation, then that would be a case where the Vikings offense would need to go win a playoff game at home. But I'm not scared of the Lions. But I'll ask you guys this. What team scares you the most in the NFC? For me, it's a team over there in Philadelphia. It's got to be the Eagles. But you guys let me know. If you disagree, let me know what team scares you the most in the NFC. Now, we'll get to some more reasons why the Vikings are a Super Bowl team here in a second. But first, I got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. Now, if you guys download the PrizePicks app today, use code CLNS, get $50 instantly after you create your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code CLNS, get $50 instantly after you create your first $5 lineup. Now, what is PrizePicks? PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Now, if you guys want to increase your viewing experience for a Vikings game, Timberwolves game, Wild game, PrizePicks is the best way to do so because even if the game's a blowout, you can still follow your PrizePicks lineup all game long. So download the app today. Use code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you put your first $5 lineup. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you create your first $5 lineup. Massive shout out to them. PrizePicks. Run your game. Number 4, weapons galore is what I'm going to call it because I think the Vikings, if you look at the whole NFL, in my opinion, they have the best weapons, even over the guys in Philly. Because I'm riding with these 3. And I'm mainly, you know what? Tex, this is on me. Producer Tex, producing the show, doing a great job. I shouldn't have put weapons galore. I should have just put 18. Because I think Justin Jefferson, 1, I think he is a top 5 player in the National Football League. And I'm willing to say this right now. Tex, if you want to, get me up here. I want everybody to look me in my eyes while I'm saying this. I think Justin Jefferson will go down as the greatest wide receiver to ever play the game we are watching. I think he is that special out there on the football field. He's got the most yards in the first 5 seasons. We all know what he's about. And I think this playoff run, it will be because of him. It will be because of what 18 does out there on the football field, creating open looks for his teammates. But even when he is double teamed, or if you dare to leave him one-on-one, he will burn you over and over again. And that drop he had against the Chicago Bears was one of the greatest things that could have happened to this football team. Because what do you think 18's doing? Oh, he's hitting that jugs machine every day after practice. He's making sure he's not going to drop one of those ever again, especially in a playoff game. I'm telling you right now, in 15 years when we're looking back on it, and that man has delivered a Super Bowl as a wide receiver to the Minnesota Vikings, we'll be calling him the greatest of all time. And when I'm just talking about the Vikes, I think they're the new San Francisco 49ers, where you have a great head coach, Kyle Shanahan, Kevin O'Connell. You got a great tight end, George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson. You got great weapons, Debo, Ayuk, McCaffrey. Well, now we got Addison, Jefferson, Aaron Jones. Now the question is, can the Vikings be as physical of a football team as the Niners are? I think they're starting to slowly, buy into that. But my last reason, and it's the best reason, nobody, and I mean nobody, believes in you. Even some Vikings fans, even some Vikings media members, if you ask them, do you think this team's going to the Super Bowl? No chance. And if you watch any talk show, whether it's Fox Sports, ESPN, PFF, the 33rd team, whatever it is, and they're making their Super Bowl picks, and I promise you this, even if the Vikings get the #1 seed in the NFC, when you hear these Super Bowl predictions, nobody, I mean nobody, will pick the Vikings to represent the NFC down there in New Orleans. And that's how I like it. So I hope all you Vikings fans, I'll see you in NOLA. I will see you in New Orleans because I really do believe this is a Super Bowl team. I will stand on this. I am ready to be on freezing cold takes. I am ready to be exposed because I'm fully bought into this football team. I'm fully bought into Jefferson. I'm fully bought into Kevin O'Connell because I think both those guys at the respective positions or the respective coaching position will go down as some of the greatest of all time. Truly, truly do believe that. But if you guys want the Vikes to get the #1 seed in the NFC, right there. Give me those skulls down below in the comments section. And also one last thing, I should have said this off the top. If you guys are a Vikings fan and you're just, expecting to be heartbroken, it's a loser mentality. This isn't 1998. This isn't 2009. This isn't 2015. This isn't 2017. This is 2024. This is your Kevin O'Connell Minnesota Vikings. This isn't your dad's Minnesota Vikings. This is our Minnesota Vikings. This is the Justin Jefferson Minnesota Vikings. I'll leave you guys with that. But also, if you guys want to give me a follow on Twitter, that's my handle right there, @PatSieps. Give me a follow over there, and I'll give you guys a follow right back. Thank you guys so much for watching today's show. As always, SKOL Vikes. All right, you guys let me know. Yeah, I appreciate you, Tiggs. I'm getting myself fired up during these videos. I don't know if you guys can tell. I give myself chills as I'm talking. Somebody should go, if anybody's watching right now, go clip a couple of those, couple of my talking points in the last. Yeah, there might. But I want to be in a hype video that the Vikings post. I just want me breaking down the team, and I want it blasted in U.S. Bank Stadium. If you guys could go get any clips, if you guys are a little wizard on the, whether it's CapCut or whatever editing software you guys use, go clip that and send that to the Vikings. Get a little hype tape going for the Super Bowl run. I forgot. We got a $100 super chat. Oh, Jib, away. My bad. We literally started the cut before we got in there. Oh, Jib, away, coming in with the $100 super chat saying, keep up the great work. Canadian Viking family here. We trust you as our source for Vikings news. Merry Christmas. Hey, happy holidays. Merry Christmas to all of you guys out there. Oh, Jib, away. I appreciate you, man. That is awesome stuff. What a legend. What a legend. I think that was one of your first super chats ever, man. Appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you. If you got anything else you want to say, please let me know down below in the live chat. But hey, I really appreciate you guys. I love all you guys. This season has been special for us here, being Vikings fans, and it's truly just getting started, man. Truly just getting started. Yeah. We can throw that in the mailbag. Yeah, we can throw that like tail half of that. Yeah. Yeah, we could end it on that. Yeah, end it on that one. Yeah. I'm fired up, guys. Yeah, Pat for the Gallahorn. Dude, if somebody has any connection, I will do whatever I can. I will go blow the Gallahorn at U.S. Bank Stadium for a playoff game. Man, that would be something. That would be something. If anybody's got any connection out there, you guys would literally make my life. Make my whole life. Bronx boy, trade us J.J. McCarthy. Oh, you guys are not going to be fans of me on this next segment. You guys, we're going to have some crazy trade talk coming up about possibly J.J. McCarthy going to the New York Giants for Travis Hunter. You guys aren't going to be a fan of the conversation, but I just want to talk about it. It will be fun. As Lego Fellow is saying, uh-oh. Yeah, please don't scream at me. This is just going to be reckless talk. I'm not saying they should trade J.J. McCarthy, just so we are all clear before I dive into this segment. I am not saying the Vikings should trade J.J. McCarthy. We are just going to talk about it, okay? That's it. Oh, I can already see the comments now. Why are you talking about trading? We're reckless talk right now, guys. Reckless talk. It's all for fun. Sports. Perry Eaton saying, Canadian Vikings fan, SKOL, brother. SKOL to you. Yeah, let's dive into Seg 3. We're going to get into our mailbag right now. Hashtag Vikings, super chat to get up on today's show. Let's dive into it, folks. Let's dive into it. Relax. Everybody relax. I can already see the comments right now. Why are we talking about trading for J.J. McCarthy? We're doing this, or we're having this 12-2 special season. I can already see you guys just freaking out down below in the comment section. Coming up on today's show, we are just going to discuss the idea coming from a potential situation the Vikings could be in where maybe it would make sense to trade J.J. McCarthy for Travis Hunter. Please, before you kill me in the comment section, let me explain my thoughts. But also coming up later on today's show, we do have a mailbag where we'll answer all of your guys' questions down below. But even before we dive into that, I just want to ask you a question. That's all I'm going to do is, would you ever trade J.J. McCarthy? Give me a T for trade. Give me a P for pass. I'm just going to ask the question. Just going to ask it. Throw it out there. but let's dive into my thoughts here. So, first and foremost, the only person that I am consulting for an opinion on the quarterback position, and the only opinion I care about, is Kevin O'Connell. So even if the Vikings go and win the Super Bowl, and people will probably be saying, oh, we need to bring back Darnold. Let's just say the Vikings don't, and it turns out it's Kevin O'Connell's decision. I'm going to trust it. I'm going to trust anything this front office does. I think they had a great offseason, so I'll trust whatever they have to do. But I'm just going to set up a situation here, and it's got 4 things. So let's just play this game. So set it up. The Vikings make the Super Bowl. And for this hypothetical, I'm just going to go say they win the Super Bowl as well. So the Vikings win the Super Bowl. We're celebrating. We're popping bottles. We're saying Sam Darnold's the guy. And also it's clear that Sam Darnold is legit. Like, he had a big-time game. He went for 303 in the Super Bowl NFC Championship, where, like, every single fan, even, like, the skeptics of Darnold, they are all bought in. And then number 2 is literally the Giants land the number 2 pick or even the first pick in the draft. And let's just say, hypothetically, a team in the New York Giants who are very, very high on J.J. McCarthy, and they view J.J. as a better prospect than Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. What could the Giants do? They could offer you that second or first pick, and maybe the Vikings would have to attach some draft capital. And let's just say the Vikings, they win the Super Bowl, and they could possibly get the second overall pick. And what if they could draft Travis Hunter? Now, I think the Vikings would be a perfect fit for Travis Hunter. Again, this all plays out. Darnold wins the Super Bowl. We extend him. He's clearly our guy, and we really just don't have a need for JJ. What if you go and select Travis Hunter? And I think the Vikings would be a perfect spot for Hunter for 2 reasons. Travis Hunter could just be a full-time cornerback. The Vikings don't have any corners on their roster heading in the next season with Byron Murphy, Shaq Griffin, Stephon Giilmore all being free agents. But then also a guy who has came out and said he can play both ways, or he wants to play both ways. What a perfect spot for him to come in and be our wide receiver 3. So I want everybody to imagine this. We draft Travis Hunter. We get our top cornerback, our lockdown corner that we have been desperately waiting for here in Minnesota. And then also the fact that this man would be your wide receiver 3 would be incredible. And if you roll out Hawk, Hunter, Jefferson, Addison, those are your weapons. Come on now. And this guy, listen, he's a special talent. Like, I'm a big believer in Travis Hunter is that, he is going to be a great player in the NFL, whether that's corner or wide receiver. I think there are just some guys that, listen, he was the number 1 recruit in high school. Went to Jackson State, was great there. Went to Colorado, won the Heisman. Like, I think he will translate to any level of football that is out there, and I think he'll be a stud in the National Football League. But, kind of to wrap my thoughts on this, this is never going to happen. Ever going to happen. But I did just want to talk about it. Listen, I make a lot of videos here. Sometimes I just have to, just get creative with a couple of videos. So hopefully I didn't offend any of you YouTube commenters on this one, but I just wanted to talk about it. It's an interesting conversation, so hopefully you guys don't kill me. But I do want to get to this very fast. Let's show J.J. McCarthy some love. Again, reckless speculation. I'm just kind of talking the talk right now, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about. So please, please, please show J.J. McCarthy some love down below in the comments section. Type those 9s and show our potential second-year QB some love down below. Now we'll dive into the mailbag here in a second, but first, I do want to tell you guys about today's sponsor, and that is Game Time. Now, if you guys download the Game Time app today and create an account, you can use code CHATSPORTS. You guys will get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Now, Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better. Game Time also has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And if you guys got a loved one in your life who may be trying to go to the Vikings-Packers game, Week 17 in the bank, tickets, super expensive. But if you guys want $20 off, here's your chance to do so. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Oh, I can't wait to see the comment section on this video. That's all I'll say on that. But Eric, what's going on, man? Saying, if we make a deep run in the playoffs, would you sign Sam Darnold and package JJ for picks? Pretty much what I was just talking about. Yeah, it would have to take a Super Bowl, right, guys? Like, it would have to. It would have to. It would have to. It's already got Too Evil to Hope in the live chat giving me a hard time. I just want to talk about it, everybody. Again, this whole conversation, I think it's going to have to be about what Kevin O'Connell thinks. Whatever KOC and Kwesi decide, I'm going to trust in them. I think they're one of the best, GM head coach duos in the National Football League. So, Eric, I think I'm going to have to wait and see to give you a true, definite answer on that. SKOL Boy GB, what's going on, man? Hashtag Vikings. Do you think they are Super Bowl contenders? 110%. I have came out and said I think the Vikings are going to be in the Super Bowl this year. I think it's probably going to be against the Buffalo Bills down there in New Orleans. And I think if they really get home field. Now, again, this would change if they are the wild card team. Actually, no, it won't change. I mean, the Vikings are still a wild card team. I still think they're going to go. But I really do believe it. They are, and hopefully all of you guys treat them like the Super Bowl contenders they are because they've earned that trust. Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi, Jefferson, Darnold, they deserve that from the fan base. So treat them like a Super Bowl contender. Treat them how Eagles fans treat their team. Treat this team how Bills fans treat theirs, how Chiefs fans treat theirs, because this is a Super Bowl team here, and I don't want you guys to take it for granted. But, bro, coming in. What up, man? Hashtag Vikings. How do you feel about Ashton Jeanty on Vikings? So, bro, funny enough, this was like my dream draft target for the Vikes. About a couple months ago, but with Jeanty having an unbelievable season, he's probably going to go in the top 10, and with the Vikings having the season they're probably going to be picking outside the top 10, but I will say, like, let's just say the Vikings had the season that all these media morons thought they were going to have, and they maybe won 4 games, and they had top 8 pick in the draft. I would be very curious to see if the Vikings would actually target a running back. I'm not sure if they would, but, hey, let me ask you guys this. Since we were just talking about Travis Hunter, what if the Vikings do win the Super Bowl and they trade J.J. McCarthy for a top 10 pick? Would you rather take Travis Hunter or Ashton Jeanty? Let me know your thoughts down below. Caleb Hammer, what's going on? Do you think the Vikings could stop the Eagles' run game in Saquon? 100%. I really do. I think it all comes down to Ivan Pace's hamstring, honestly. But with Jalen Redmond taking that step, I think you got some defensive tackles I love. Jonathan Grenard is fantastic against the run so far this season. And you also got some corners and some safeties that love to come down and hit. I mean, Josh Metellus this past weekend versus the Bears, he looked like a damn defensive lineman out there flying down from free safety. So I think it's going to come down to Ivan Pace being healthy, but we will get a good test against the Packers and the Lions. Hopefully Pace is off IR by then, and he should be. But if they can slow down the Packers and the Lions, again, let's just say hypothetically against the Packers and Lions, the Vikes just get killed in the run game. Obviously, I wouldn't feel too great about it, but yeah, I think there's a chance. And then it's a great offensive line there in Philly. Saquon's a great running back, but I think Brian Flores would have something cooked up, no doubt about it. Eric, what's going on, man? Mike Florio. Can't wait to see where this goes. Said on Chicago radio today, the Vikings are a fluke. Your thoughts? Typical Florio pandering to the audience right there. I'll say that. Listen, Florio's like a lot of you guys. I don't mean to call you guys out, but these older Vikings fans, man, and maybe I'm just a naive 25-year-old. If you guys want to call me a naive 25-year-old, that's okay with me. But I just think it's the PTSD of being a Vikings fan for the past, 50-something years where you've had heartbreak. You've had just crushing defeats in the playoffs, specifically 98. That was the year before I was born, so I didn't really, fully understand that season. But I think it's a ludicrous take to call them a fluke. They've beaten good teams, and it was so funny. The new thing going around is the Vikings haven't played anybody. But before the year, everybody was saying the Vikings have one of the toughest schedules in the league. Some people, like even Bill Simmons, was going out there and saying he thinks the Vikings have and not just Bill Simmons, legit fans. There was a poll on Twitter that do the Vikings have a better chance of making the playoffs or getting the number 1 pick? That was a real conversation from Vikings fans right before the year. And it was ludicrous. I hated it because you are pretty much just discrediting what you thought of this head coach, of what you thought of the other players on this roster. I think they're no doubt a Super Bowl contender. But Finn, coming in. What do you think about Dallas Turner's season so far? Great question, Finn. Appreciate you. Definitely up and down. No, he started off the year, wasn't getting a lot of reps with the Vikes, but hey, man, that move he put on Darnell Wright last week, that little dip move he had where his knee touched the ground, it was nasty. Like, that really speaks to how athletic he is. I think he's going to really come on the scene hard. And, Patrick Jones being an unrestricted free agent this season or this offseason, he's probably going to gone. Dallas Turner will step up. Hopefully he gets more reps. But, man, like, that's also the thing with this Vikings team is we still have young players getting better every single week. Like, Dallas Turner really has been a non-factor. What if he ends up popping for this playoff run? What if even Jalen Redmond? What if he takes another step up? I also saw something. Jalen Redmond over the last 3 weeks, he's like the 4th highest graded defensive tackle, and he's got like the 3rd most amount of tackles for loss. Like, he has been on a tear. So young guys like that, Turner, Redmond, watch out for them during the tail half of the season. But Ojibwe, he sent in $100 super chat, man. Thank you so much again. Just saying, keep up the good work. Canadian Viking family here. We trust you as our source for Vikings news. Merry Christmas. I really do appreciate that. And, just everybody throughout the season who has been showing love on the channel, showing love to me personally. You guys have been awesome. You guys have made this season special for me. The channel has been growing like wildfire here. We picked up the most amount of subscribers out of any chat sports channel since the season started, and that's literally all you guys. Like, that's you guys making that effort and hitting that sub button, because I understand. We ask you, here, hit that thumbs up button, comment below, subscribe to the channel a whole lot. And I understand it can get annoying, it can get repetitive. But you guys just making that effort for me, it keeps me motivated. It helps us get these videos out to more and more Vikings fans, and it just helps us grow not only my channel here at Chat Sports, but it just helps us grow as a company. So seriously, really, really thank you guys so much. You guys have been just awesome, and this season has been special, not just because of the team, but because of you guys holding it down for me. And I love chopping it up with you guys in the comment section, even though I know I'm going to get some comments on this video saying, Pat, you're crazy and all that. But again, I can't wait to get back down there and chop it up later tonight. But hey, if you guys made it to the end of today's show, give me a SKOL down below in the comments section. Make it look like US Bank Stadium on game day. And as always, I am on Twitter or X at Pat Sieps is the handle. Give me a follow over there, and we'll see you guys next time. As always, SKOL Vikes, baby. Alrighty. The Minnesota Vikings, huh? Alrighty, bro saying SKOL. Himothy saying, yep, we're undefeated with Cashman. Yeah, people forget about that. I mean, if we would have had Cashman versus the Lions, I think we win that game. We appreciate you guys. SKOL Nation saying, what's up? Just got back from practice. I ran in the rain in Syracuse, New York. That's dedication right there, SKOL Nation. Bro saying, do you want Dalvin Cook back? No, I do not want Dalvin Cook back. Legend, though. Vikings legend. Yeah, we also didn't have TJ Hawkinson versus the Lions. We lost to them by 2. And we should have won that football game, if we're being honest. Remember when we lost to the Rams, you were saying that Sam Darnold is just a good quarterback and we're just a good team, not a great team. Because in the moment, I did. Like, that Rams game, a lot of just red flags started to pop up. But I think, like, going through that Rams game and coming out on the other side as a better football team has kind of built up some calluses for this group, where now once we get to the playoffs, where let's just say we're down late or we were down versus the Cardinals, the Vikings can win in every single way, guys. Every single way. The vibes in Minnesota were low. I mean, dude, that Friday after we got the notification that Darisaw tore his ACL and was out for the year. I did not think we had a chance at the Super Bowl. But again, and I say this, I update my takes all the time. I update my thoughts on this football team all the time. And if you don't think Kwesi, Kevin O'Connell, if they're not doing the same thing week to week, you're tripping. You're tripping. I will say that. But we are going to sign off here. Again, thank you guys so much for all the support. We'll see you guys soon. We'll be live Sunday. Shout out to Ryan Manley. Shout out to Bro, Card Collector. Also, Ojibwe. Thank you so much for the $100 super chat. We'll see you guys soon. As always, SKOL Vikes.